See, you got to understand, these Native Americans we see now, their DNA goes back to Siberia. It's a fact. Look it up, man. Their DNA goes back to Siberia. And that's where the Mongols were kicking it. That's basically like their origins, that area. So you got to think, how do these Mongols, or these Native Americans from Siberia, how do they go from this white skin to this really dark skin with Asian features, okay?
This man is a direct descendant of a person who lived in Central Asia about 35 to 40,000 years ago.
Wow.
And his ancestor is also the ancestor of most Europeans and Native Americans.
Wow.
And his ancestor is also the ancestor of most Europeans and Native Americans.
Wow.
He's a man called Niyazov, who lives in Kazakhstan.
Are you the same person that did some research I noticed on the internet that says that the Native American people are somehow connected to Central Europe?
Yes, Central Asia.
Central Asia.
Yeah, that was a paper that we published last year.
Okay. That's good to know.
What do you think of that?
I was looking at a book from people from Central Asia, and I saw my cousin Emmett and Abraham, Auntie Grandma Buggy, and I said, my God, I got family over there in Central Asia. These were the Mongolian people.
Yeah.
But I want the people to know the truth about the Navajos and what they're trying to do to my people. Even back then, the Navajo nations are friends and allies with American government. And they're not the true Hopi people, native peoples on this continent. They're just a mixture of the Eskimos or they came down from the north, the Bering Strait, and they came and they scavenged off the tribes that were already here.
The original people of the Americas were black folk. And this is one of the biggest secrets in history. Everyone's talking about it.
It is a big mind-blowing, it's mind-blowing. It's something I kind of already knew, but I wasn't sure, okay? First of all, okay, it starts with the inhabitants. The original indigenous inhabitants of this planet, planet Earth, the original Terrans, are the black people. Not African people, I'm saying the black people. We have been lied, folks. We have been duped, believing that the way that the Africans came over to America was through a ship, through the Atlantic Ocean, okay? And they were brought in from Africa as slaves. They were brought in, from Africa to Haiti and all these other places as slaves, right? Well, that's completely false. The truth about them, the true indigenous Terrans of this land, is before planet Earth was colonized, the whole planet was ran by the true Terrans, which are the black people, okay, or brown people. Well, I'm part brown, Mexican, I don't even know what you want to call it, but you know what I'm saying. You think about it, even in Mexico, the Olmec head has always baffled me because I thought, wow, the Olmec head, he looks very African. Well, of course. They're the true Terrans of the land.
But I'm going to take it a step farther real quick. You got to think, if the black Indians were here, okay, and these Mongols came through, think about it. How did these Siberians get their skin so dark? These Mongols came through, did their thing with the black Indians here, and that's what created Mexicans and the Native American. That's the only way. That's where this melanin or this whatever left of the original gene, that's where it came from. Native Americans, you are no different than us Mexicans. We're the same fucking thing. All right.
Hey, did you know that us Mexicans are the most mixed race of them all? We literally come from blacks, white, and Chinese. How do we all come from all those races? You got to understand that the first people on this land were blacks, right? And then the whites came, mixed it up with them, and then the Chinese came and mixed it up with them. So a light skin having babies with the Chinese makes us, bro.
Most of the so-called Africans or African American people are actually indigenous to this land. You know, they were already here. Columbus didn't find nothing new. There were already people here, you know, and he was in search while he was studying prophecy and scripture, trying to find a holy people that were promised a land that was located to the west, which was essentially us. And when he came on this land, he called us Indians because he thought he landed in India, which it wasn't true, you know. But we're melanated people. Some contain a little bit more melanin than others, you know, but we're still indigenous to this land. This land is ours.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. Assalamu alaikum. Peace be unto you. La paz sea con ustedes. It's an honor to be here this afternoon with our black brothers and sisters, with our Aboriginal brothers and sisters, with our brothers and sisters from Latin America, the Caribbean, and all over Turtle Island. It is an honor to be here, not just so that we could be introduced to one another, but so we can be reunited as we were in the beginning. We are one people when we are united. But what has been missing is we have been deprived of that knowledge which will allow us to see one another as we are and see ourselves as we are. So today is not a day where we're being introduced to one another. Today is the day that the family is coming back together with one cry and one purpose. And that is for justice or else.
You see evidence that people came across a land bridge. You see evidence that a land bridge did exist in the past.
In the northern parts of North America, Alaska, the Yukon, even northern British Columbia, we have a collection of some of the most ancient sites across the continent. And of course, that would be up in an area that archaeologists refer to as Beringia.
And you know, those people who made it across the land bridge, all they had were their wits and a few stone tools. And yet they managed to explore, discover, and colonize 2 continents. So that's a pretty amazing achievement in the annals of human history.
By 15,000 years ago, the rising sea levels had covered up the Beringia land bridge, and people living there either had to return to Siberia or stay in North America. The end of the last ice age set the stage for the movement of people overland into North America. The indigenous people who traveled into the continent on foot from Beringia could not have known it at the time, but they were not the first people to settle south of the ice sheets. In fact, humans had already been living in both North and South America for thousands of years before the glaciers melted and opened up routes south through the ice-free corridor.
The sites were getting younger as they went north, which is counterintuitive. You'd expect that the oldest sites would be in the north and they'd get progressively younger in the south. So it looked like people were moving north instead of south. So this has always been very paradoxical, and the only way you can explain it is that there were people already living south of the ice sheets, and where did those people come from?
Everything we've been taught in the American education system is all a lie. Yes, Native Americans weren't the original people of this land. We actually took it from black people.